Hi everybody, I'm Pia from Stitches and Scraps. Today I'm going to show you how to make this Shapeshifter Square. This video goes along with the written pattern and I'll be referencing the chart version as we go. You can find the written pattern and the chart at the link in the description on this video if you're watching it on YouTube, and in a link in the blog post if you're watching it on my blog. Yarnspiration sent me the Karen 1-pound yarn that I'm using for this project. I've used 4 colors. There's Midnight Blue, Ocean, Azure, and Soft Gray Mix. On my actual square, I'll be working this center portion in a very dark blue, but so that it shows up better on the video, I'm going to show you in this color first, and then I'll switch to the darker blue. So let's start on round 1. Our triangle section is just these 2 rounds, rounds 1 and 2, okay? For round 1, we're starting with a magic circle in the center. You can do however you like to start a circle, if you prefer a chain 2 or whatever your preference. You're going to start a circle, and then we're making 3 little points in the circle. Each point is a single crochet in the circle, okay? 5 chains. We're going to single crochet back in 3 of the chains, and then do another single crochet in our circle. And we're going to do that 3 times. So let's start with that. So start with your magic circle, or however you prefer to start your circles. Okay, chain 1. And let's get started. We're going to do a single crochet in the circle, and then we're going to chain 5. Now we're going to skip these first 2 chains. Those are going to become a chain 2 space, and we're going to work a single crochet back in each of the remaining 3 chains. So single crochet. I like to work in the back bumps because it leaves it looking nice on the other side, and we're going to be working back into that. It doesn't really matter. You can work into the chain however you prefer. So there's my 3 single crochet in the chain, and then I'm going to single crochet right back into that magic circle again, and I've made 1 corner. Okay, I'm going to do 3 of those. So let's do another one. Single crochet in the circle, chain 5, skip the 2 chains closest to your hook, and single crochet in each of the next 3 chains. And then single crochet back into the circle again. 1 more. Single crochet in the circle, chain 5, skip the first 2, single crochet in the next 3 chains. 1. I made my chains a little tight here. 2 and 3. And then single crochet back into the circle. And now I've made 3 points. I'm going to tighten my circle and I'm going to join. Okay, pull the circle nice and tight, and you can see we've got this sort of 3-pointed triangle thing started here. Round 2 is going to turn that into much more of a triangle shape. So let's take a look at round 2. We're going to chain 1 and turn because we're working a right side round, correct? So we're going to chain 1 and turn, and our first stitch is going to be a single crochet 2 together. Then we're going to do a single crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then when we get to the corner, we're going to do a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. So basically, we're making this triangle with decreases at the center of these 3 points. So right here where it hits the center of the circle, we're going to do a decrease, and then out here at the tips, we're going to do a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. So let's work on that. We're going to start with a chain 1 and turn. Okay, now the single crochet 2 together goes on one of the single crochets that's going into the magic circle and one of the single crochets that's going into one of these chains that we made. So it kind of brings those 2 together. To do a single crochet together, 2 together, insert your hook into the next stitch and pull up a loop like you would for a normal single crochet, but now do it again. Stop here and do it again in the next stitch. Now you have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. So that's our single crochet 2 together. Now we're going to single crochet in each of these next 2 stitches here. And then we've come to our chain 2 loop at the end. In our chain 2 loop at the end, we're going to do a single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet to make a corner. Now, going across here, we're going to work into the bottoms of those chains. Remember here, we worked our single crochets into these chains here? Well, now on round 2, we're going to come back and work into the bottoms of those chains as well as working into the single crochets. So that's why I like working in the back bump, because it makes the bottoms look really nice. They look just like the tops. So I just see stitches here, but these are actually those chains that I worked into. So I'm going to work a single crochet into 2 of them. Okay, remember there were 3. So in the next one, and then into the single crochet that goes into that magic circle, I'm going to do a single crochet 2 together to kind of pull those 2 together. Okay, and then same thing on this side, single crochet 2 together, single crochet in the next 2 stitches. That brings me to the corner. In this corner chain 2 space, we're going to do a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. And then on the way back, here we go, single crochet in 2 stitches and single crochet 2 together. Got one more spoke to do. Let's do that one. Single crochet 2 together, 2 single crochets, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet into that chain 2 loop, 2 single crochets, okay, and then single crochet 2 together. And that brings us right back where we started. We can join and we are ready for the next round. So that is our center triangle, and I'm going to redo that in the darker color, and then we'll move on to the circle section. So I've made my triangle again, and I went ahead and changed colors. Now remember, if you're changing colors at the end of a row, change colors in your slip stitch. So when you're doing the slip stitch join, instead of joining with the old color, just go ahead and join with the new color to finish your round, and that'll give you a nice seamless color change. Okay. So we have our new color, we're ready to start round 3. Round 3 is actually very triangular shaped. It's basically going to put a border on our triangle for us. The reason I made this part of the circle section instead of part of the triangle section is because if you're changing colors, and I was changing colors with each section, these rounds of front post double crochet are great rounds to change the colors in because it just looks nice when you do. So I made this part of the circle section. So let's start. All we're going to do is we're going to do front post double crochets all the way across each side of our triangle. And when we get to these corner spaces, we're going to do a double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. That's it. It's very simple. It's a wrong side round of front post double crochets with double crochet, chain 2, double crochet in the corners. I'm going to start by chaining 1 and turning my work. And now I'm going to do a front post double crochet in each of these 4 stitches across to the corner. So a front post double crochet, you yarn over, you insert your hook from front to back and then out the front again around the stitch that you want to stitch around. Now yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, just to finish your double crochet. Let's see that again. Yarn over, go from front to back and then up and out the front again around the post. Yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. Keep going all the way to the end until we get to that chain 2 space. That should be 4 front post double crochets that you're doing. Okay, there's my 4. I'm at my chain 2 space. In my chain 2 space, I'm going to do a double crochet, chain 2, and double crochet. Now we repeat all the way across this side, so there'll be 8 total front post double crochets all the way across to the next corner. So 1, Now I've reached the next corner and I do a double crochet, chain 2, double crochet in the corner. And I'm going to keep doing that all around to the next corner. So front post double crochets all the way across to the next corner. Okay, I'm in the corner. I do a double crochet, chain 2, double crochet into that corner. And then I should have 4, because remember I did 4 front post doubles on this side. I should have 4 left to get me back to the middle. So 4 front post double crochets around these next 4 stitches. And then join with a slip stitch, and that is the end of round 3. Now when I turn it over, you can see this pretty ridge that it's made by pushing those fronts of those stitches forward to kind of highlight the edges of our triangle here. You'll also notice, because of where we changed colors, that you have this nice little ridge of the contrasting color hiding underneath those edges as well. I really like that look. If you don't like that look, you may want to change your colors on a different row. So let's go on to, or different round, sorry. So let's go on to round 4. So round 4 starts with a chainless starting double crochet, and now we're going to really start changing the shape. In these low points at the centers of our triangle sides, we're going to make these big wide shells, okay? And then when we get up to the top points up here, we're going to do 3 single crochets into those chain 2 spaces. So let's start working on this one. For round 4, we're first going to turn our work. We're not chaining or anything. We're going to turn our work, and we're going to start with a chainless starting double crochet. Now, this is an alternative to the traditional chain 3 that you would use to start a double crochet. If you prefer to use the chain 3, you certainly can. That's absolutely fine. But this is how you do the chainless starting double. We're going to pull up a loop to about the height of our double crochet, maybe a little bit more. Okay, you're going to hold on to the top of that loop with your finger. Do not let go or the whole thing will come out. All right, you're going to twist your hook around that loop to make sort of a yarn over, right? Remember I said don't let go. If you let go, that twist comes out. So you don't want to let go at all. Okay, hold on to your stitch, wrap your hook around the stitch to make a yarn over. Insert your hook into that first stitch that you want to work into, yarn over and pull up a loop. Now you have basically the equivalent of 3 loops on your hook, right? Yarn over and pull through 2 of them. Now you can let go, yarn over and pull through the last 2. And that makes something that looks much more like a double crochet, so it leaves less of a gap than the chain 3 does. So that's your chainless starting double crochet. Now we are here in the pattern. So after this, we're doing a chain 1 and then a double and then a chain 1 and a double, all in this same stitch, the same first stitch. So chain 1, double crochet back in the same stitch. Chain 1, double crochet back in that same stitch. Okay, so that's half of our fan right here. Now underneath those that we just made, we're skipping 2 of these front post doubles, right? So skip the next 2 stitches, and then we're going to do a half double crochet into the next stitch. So skip 2 and do a half double crochet into the next stitch. Then we're going to do a single crochet into the double crochet at the corner here, and that brings us to our corner chain 2 space. In our corner chain 2 space, we're going to work 3 single crochets. All right, now we do the same thing on the other side. So we start with a single crochet into the double, then a half double into this front post double that's here, okay? And now we're going to do a full shell. So the full shell, skip these 2 stitches, all right? You're going to do a double, chain 1, double, chain 1, double, okay, for half of the shell. Then you're going to chain 1 again for between the halves, right? And then you're going to do in the next stitch, double, chain 1, double, chain 1, double. So it's a fan or a shell stitch worked across 2 stitches. So half of it is in this stitch and half of it is in this stitch. And between the 2 halves, you have another chain 1 space. So that is the full fan or shell or whatever you want to call it. Then we're going to skip the next 2 stitches, do a half double in this one, and a single in this one. Now we are back to the corner. Do 3 single crochets in the corner, and we're going to repeat on this side. I'm going to go a little bit faster, okay? Single, half double, skip 2, okay? First half of the shell is double, chain 1, double, chain 1, double, chain 1 between the shells. Then in the next stitch, double, chain 1, double, chain 1, double. All right, so you have a total of 6 double crochets with chain spaces separating each of them. Now we skip 2 stitches, we half double in the next stitch and single in the next stitch, and then we're up to the corner and we do 3 single crochets in the corner. All right, again, single, half double, and now skip 2, and then in this last stitch we're going to work the first half of the shell because we started with the back half of the shell, right? So in the last stitch we do double, chain 1, double, chain 1, double, chain 1 for between the 2 shells, and then we're going to join right into the top of that chainless starting double crochet that we made right there. And that is round 3. Now you can see we have, or sorry, that's round 4. Now you can see that we've sort of shifted from a triangle shape into something that's a little more like a hexagon. And we're going to slowly get more and more circular as we go. Now round 5 is basically single crochets all the way around, but be careful. Let's look at any of these fans that we have here, right? In the center chain space, we're putting 3 single crochets. In the other chain spaces, we're putting 2 single crochets. We're not working into the stitches themselves. So here, we're working into the chain space. 3 single crochets are going to be in the middle one. And then there's 2 in the other chain spaces. So be careful of your stitch counts, but it's just single crochet all the way around. We're going to start by turning without chaining because we want to get nicely within that chain space, right? Right now we're kind of connected to this double crochet here. So we're going to turn our work and we're going to slip stitch into that chain space. That gets us centered nicely in that chain space. Now we're just going to start with 1 single crochet here and we'll pick up the other 2 single crochet at the end of the round because this is our center chain space, right? Now no chains or anything, we move on to the next chain space and we're going to do 2 single crochets in this one. Move on to the next chain space, 2 single crochets in this one. Now I'm skipping this double crochet here, right? And I'm just going to single crochet in the rest of these stitches around until I hit that next fan. So now I've hit the next fan, I'm going to skip this double crochet and I'm going to work 2 single crochets into the first chain space, 2 single crochets in the next chain space. Now here we've reached the center chain space between the 2 sides of our fan. This is where we're going to work 3 single crochets. And then we continue with 2 in the next chain space and 2 in the next chain space. Now don't forget to skip this last double crochet of the fan. You don't want to work into that. That's part of the fan that we're working into the chain spaces of. So we go to the next stitch and we're going to single crochet into all of these stitches around until we hit the next fan. And that should be 7 stitches. So I've come to my last fan. Again, 2 single crochets in the first chain space, 2 single crochets in the second chain space, 3 single crochets in that middle chain space, and then 2 in the next chain space, 2 in the next chain space, And that's it for the fan. We skip that last double crochet, and we're going to single crochet into each stitch around until we get to the beginning of the next fan. Because remember, we started in the middle of a fan. Okay, I've reached the next fan, so that's 7 single crochets around, and then I reach the next fan. I've only got these last 2 chain spaces to work into, so I'm going to do these 2 single crochets into each of these. And then back in the beginning chain space, we should have had 3 single crochets, but we only did 1, right? So I'm going to do those other 2 now. So 2 more single crochets into that space, and then we join. And there we have, now that's starting to really look like a circle, right? So there we have our round 5. Let's move on to round 6. Round 6 is again mostly single crochets, but we do have a couple of increases that we need to worry about. So we want to watch our stitch counts to make sure we hit those increases in the right spot. You can see the increase right here where 2 single crochets are worked into 1. All right. And then when we get to the points here where we had those chain spaces before, we're going to drop down with a very tall stitch down in between these 2 double crochets down here. So let me show you that. And actually, I think on the chart, I might edit this a little bit to just draw this line a little lower because it's not going into this chain space. And I think that kind of got hidden on the chart. It's going into this chain space here. We're going into there. So I'm going to drop that line down to there when I do the final chart. So let's start here. Okay, round 6 is a right side round. So we're going to chain 1 and turn. Okay, and now we're just going to single crochet all the way around until we get to that first increase. So how many is that? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 single crochet before we get to our first increase here. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 single crochet. And if you want to check, your first increase should be directly above the half double crochet from a couple rows below. It should be right after the fan ends. We're actually doing these increases basically on either end of the fan. So we work across the whole fan and then we do the increase. So that's 6 stitches, and now we're going to do an increase. So 2 single crochets in the same stitch. Okay, now that puts us right here. There's 2 more single crochets in the next 2 stitches, and then we end up in the center of the corner. So do the 2 more single crochets, and now here we are in the corner, right? I know there's not corners in circles, but we're in the corner. So we're going to come down between these 2 double crochets. You see that? We're going to close up this big gap we have here. We're going to do a double treble. So a double crochet has 1 yarn over. A treble crochet has 2 yarn overs. A double treble crochet has 3 yarn overs. So we're doing 3 yarn overs. We're going to come down. You can actually separate the feet of these stitch a little bit if you want, but we're going to come down between those 2 stitches into that same chain space, and we're going to pull up a loop and then yarn over and pull through 2 all the way until we're done with all of these loops. Okay, so we've got a nice tall stitch right there. So that's the double treble. We're going to skip the stitch behind it, and then we're going to single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. Remember, we had 2 stitches on this side before the increase. We've got 2 stitches on this side before the increase. So 2 stitches, and then we're going to do an increase. So 2 single crochets in the same stitch. Okay, now we've got 11 stitches. Let's count them. Here is our increase right here. Okay, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 stitches before we get to our next increase right there. So let's do 11 stitches all the way around. And you know you're in the right place if you reach the end of your fan so that your next stitch is above that half double. Okay, so I'm in the right place. I'm going to do my 2 single crochets in the next stitch. And then I've got 2 stitches before I get to the corner. So a single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. And now I'm doing that big double treble again. So let's look at that one more time. Double is 1, treble is 2, double treble is 3. So it's 3 yarn overs, okay? Go down between the legs of these 2 double crochets and into that chain 2 space, yarn over and pull up a loop. Then we yarn over and pull through 2, 1, 2, 3, 4 times for a double treble. All right, so let's skip the stitch behind it and do it again. Single crochet in the next 2, 2 single crochets in the next 1, single crochet in each of the next 11. 1, 2, 10, and 11. And check that I'm in the right place. I am. I'm directly over that half double crochet after my fan. So now in this one, I'm doing an increase. So 2 single crochets, then single crochet in the next 2. And then my last, double treble. So yarn over 1, 2, 3 times, dip down between those 2 stitches into that chain space, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. Skip the stitch behind it, and we're going to do 2 more single crochets in the next 2 stitches. So 1, 2, and then 2 single crochets in this 1 stitch here. 1, 2, and then we single crochet to the end. Now when we started, we did 6 single crochets here. So here we should have 5 left to get to that middle point. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we're going to join with a slip stitch in the first stitch. So now you can see how we've made these really tall stitches kind of dip down and connect into the triangle that we made before. And our shape is starting to look much more circular. So that is our circle, and I'm actually going to change colors again in this join here. I'm going to change to the lighter blue color. So instead of doing my slip stitch in this color, I'm going to switch and do it in this color. And that's the end of my circle, so we're ready to start the square. Just like when we switched from the triangle to the circle, now when we're switching from the circle to the square, we're going to do an edging round with these front post double crochet stitches on the wrong side of the fabric. So we're starting right here, and this is a wrong side round, so we're going this way. So I'm going to chain 1 and turn. And now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 front post doubles, and then a chain 1 space. Now notice this chain 1 space, I'm not skipping a stitch underneath it. These are my increases for this round. I'm increasing just by adding a chain space between my stitches. So basically I'm going to do a front post double crochet around every stitch, but every 5 stitches I'm adding in an extra chain space. So I've gotten up to my height. Now I'm going to front post double crochet around this stitch. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then I'm going to do a chain 1. And then I do 5 more front post doubles. Notice I did not skip a stitch. And then I'm going to chain 1. And I'm going to keep doing that all the way around. That should be I should be able to do that 12 times, and that should be exactly enough stitches to get all the way around. And then don't forget this last chain 1 before you join up, because you just finished a group of 5. You need to do a chain 1 and then join to your first stitch right there. So now I have a ring of front post double crochets creating a border around my circle. What I've also done is I've created 12 chain spaces. Well, a square has 4 sides, which means 4 of these chain spaces are going to be corners, which leaves 8 more. So each side is going to have 2 chain spaces. So we have corner, 2 chain spaces, corner, 2 chain spaces, corner, 2 chain spaces, corner, 2 chain spaces. And that's going to give us the structure for our square. So let's move on to round 8. Round 8 is a right side round. We're going to start in the chain space and we're going to make that our first corner chain space. So first we turn our work, okay, and then we're going to slip stitch into the chain space to get us nicely centered in there again. And now I'm going to do a chainless starting double crochet. Let's look at that one more time because we did that once before. I'm going to pull up my loop nice and big, hold it with my finger, twist my hook around it to form a yarn over, insert my hook into the chain space where I want to make that stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2, and then yarn over and pull through these last 2. And that is my chainless starting double crochet. Now I'm going to do one more double crochet in that same chain space. And then I'm going to do a double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. So that's my 3 double crochet. Now my next stitch is going to be this sort of half fan, but it's worked into the row below. Do you see that? It's worked in front of these stitches that have the dashed lines. So this little half fan I'm making is a treble crochet, a chain 1, a double crochet, a chain 1, and a treble crochet. I'm going to work that all into the stitch below the next chain space. And you're going to tell me, but we didn't skip a stitch when we made that chain space. That's okay. Pick whichever stitch looks like it's directly below and then keep that same, like it could be this stitch or this stitch. I went with this one. And then keep that same convention as you go around, whether you're choosing the stitch to the right or the stitch to the left. It doesn't matter too much. One of them is going to look directly below and one of them isn't. So I'm skipping 2. There's the 2 I'm skipping. There's my chain space. Now, to me, this one, which is actually this stitch here, right, that looks directly below. Right? There's my chain space, there's the stitch. That looks more below the chain space than this one does. So I'm going to go into this stitch and I'm starting with a treble. And now I'm just going into the stitch because we worked a post stitch on the last round, right? So the top of the stitch is still there. So I'm just going to go into that stitch like normal and do my treble crochet. And again, treble is 2 yarn overs. All right, chain 1. Work a double crochet into that same stitch, chain 1, and work a treble crochet into that same stitch right there. So that's connected now into this border that I made around the circle. Okay, that is that first fan. Now I'm going to skip these 2 stitches. And in the middle of this group of 5 stitches, I'm going to do a single crochet. So I'm skipping 1, 2, and then in the middle of these 5, I'm doing a single crochet. Okay, let's skip another 2 stitches and do the same fan. Again, I'm leaning towards the left here for what looks like it's directly under my chain space. So I'm going into that stitch and I'm doing a treble crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, treble crochet. Then again, I'm going to skip 2 stitches behind that fan. And now I'm on the other corner, right? So I'm doing 3 double crochet and then I get to my corner space. So skip those 2, do 3 double crochets. And I get to my corner space. In my corner space, I'm going to do 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet. So 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet. And now we're going to start all over again. I'm pushing this paper out of my way because we're going to do 3 double crochets, right? 2, 3, okay. Skip the 2 stitches till we get to that chain space. Now we're working that fan into this stitch below the chain space. So treble crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, and treble crochet, all into that same stitch. There we go. Now we skip these two and we single crochet into the next stitch. Skip these two and work another fan under that chain space. So treble crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, treble crochet. Okay, skip those two and then 3 more treble crochet or 3 more double crochets to get us to the next corner. And we're going to keep doing that all the way around. You'll notice that each corner uses one of the chain spaces and these little fans use the other 2 chain spaces, right? So each corner uses 1, that's 4, and that leaves 2 on each side. So I'm making these fans. And we're going to do that all the way around till we get back to the starting corner. I finished my last 3 double crochet and I'm back around to that starting corner. Now I only did half of the starting corner, right? I only did the 2 double crochets in that space. So in the same space, I'm going to work another 2 double crochets and then the chain 1 to get that center chain space. Then I join to my first double crochet, which that chainless starting double crochet counts as a double crochet, and that is the end of the round. And now I've got a squared shape with corners and sides. So for round 9, we'll go through it step by step, but the thing to notice is that once again, when we get to these little fans, we're not going to be working into the stitches of the fan. We're going to be working into the chain spaces on the fan. So let's start. Our corner looks the same. It's 2 double crochets, chain 1 and 2 double crochets. So we start with a chainless starting double crochet and 1 more double crochet in that first space. So let's start there. We're going to turn our work. We're going to slip stitch to get nicely centered in that first space. And then we're going to do a chainless starting double crochet into that same space. All right, and then 1 more double crochet in the same space. So that is our 2 double crochets right there. Now we're going to do a double crochet into each stitch across to that first fan. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches. All right. Now when we get to the fan, the side closest to the corner, we're going to do half double crochets. Okay. The chain space that's closest to the middle, we're going to do single crochets. So in the first chain space here, we're going to do 2 half double crochets. Then we skip over to the next chain space and that's closer to the middle, so we're going to do 2 single crochets. And in that 1 single crochet that's between the fans, we're going to do a single crochet. Notice I skipped this treble, this double, and this treble. We're only working in the chain spaces when we get to that fan. Okay, so now I'm at this treble here. I'm going to skip it, going into this chain space. This one is closest to the center, so I'm working 2 single crochets in it. Skip this stitch, go into this chain space, and this one is closest to the corner. So this one I'm doing 2 half doubles. Now I'm skipping this treble again, right? And I should have 5 double crochets to get me to that corner chain space. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the corner, I'm going to do 2 double crochets, chain 1, and then 2 double crochet. And then I start that pattern all the way over again. 5 double crochets to get me to the first fan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now I'm at the first fan, so skip the stitch. This space is closest to the corner, so I do 2 half double crochets into this stitch. This space is closest to the center, so I do 2 single crochets into this space. Skip these stitches, right? And then a single crochet in that center single crochet. Skip the stitch. I'm closest to the center, so 2 single crochets. skip the stitch. Now I'm closest to the corner, so 2 half double crochets. Okay, skip that stitch, and then I should have 5 more double crochets to get me to the next corner. And I'm going to keep doing that all the way around until we get back to where we started. Okay, I'm back to my corner, and in that same starting corner, I'm going to work 2 double crochet and the corner chain 1 space. Join, and we're ready to move on to round 10. Now round 10 has the same corners that we've been doing with those 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet. So we're going to start in the same way with the slip stitch in the chain space and the chainless starting double crochet. Now the gist of this round is we're going to make graduated stitches going down from double crochets to half doubles to singles. And then when we get to these fans, we're going to work into the stitches we skipped before on the row below. So 2 rows below, we're going to work into the treble, the double, and the treble that we skipped earlier. And we're working over the top of those singles and half doubles. We're just ignoring those. Okay. If you want to remember the counts of the stitches, it goes 4, 3, 2. Because you have 2 stitches, 2 double crochets as part of your corner, right? So that's 2, and then 2 more makes 4. So there's 4 double crochets total, then 3 half doubles, then 2 singles to get you to that first fan. So let's go ahead and do that much. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is turn our work, and then we're going to slip stitch into that corner space. All right, now we're doing a chainless starting double crochet, so bring up your loop nice and tall, wrap it around your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. All right, 1 more double crochet in that corner, so that's 2 double crochets. Now we've got 2 more, so 1 and 2 in the next 2 stitches, right? So that is 4 double crochets. Now we're going to do 3 half double crochets. So half double crochet, half double crochet, half double crochet. Ignore these yarn ends. I had to cut my yarn because there was a knot, so just ignore those. Okay, so there's 3 half doubles. Now 2 singles, 1, 2, and that gets us to our fan. Now once we get to our fan, we're going to be working post stitches around these 3 stitches that we didn't work into before, right? So this treble, this double, this treble, see these little front post stitches here? These are coming down into these stitches here, okay? So these are front post treble crochets. Notice they have the 2 lines. So we're doing a front post treble around each of these 3 stitches. There's nothing in between them. It's just a front post treble around each of those 3 stitches. So treble is 2 yarn overs. Front post means go down from front to back and out the front again, right? Yarn over and pull up a loop. And let's do our yarn over, pull through 2s 3 times. All right, and again, 2 yarn overs, insert hook around the post, pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. So we're going to do that on each of these 3 stitches here. And notice we're totally skipping these 4 stitches, those 2 half doubles and those 2 singles, skip them entirely. So now we move on, and in between these 2 fans, we have a single crochet, right? So we're skipping these 4 stitches, but we do want to do a single crochet in between our fans right there. See, right there is that single crochet, okay? So now we do the same thing with this fan, where we're going to do front post trebles around each of these 3 stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay, again, skip these 4 stitches behind the posts that we just made. All right, now looking at this, we're starting our progression again. It's 2 singles, 3 half doubles, and then a total of 4 doubles. 2 of them are in the corner, 2 of them are in these stitches. So skip those 4. Here we go with 2 singles, 1, 2, 3 half doubles, 1, 2, 3, and then 4 doubles, 1 in this stitch, 2 in this stitch, and then the corner gives us 3 and 4, 3 and 4. Now we're going to chain 1 for our corner space and then do 2 more doubles here. So 1, 2 to finish our corner. And now again, we're doing that progression on this side. So that was 2. Here's 3 and 4 to make 4 doubles. Okay, 3 half doubles. 1, 2, 3. 2 singles. 1, 2. And that brings us to our fan. Treble, front post trebles around each of these 3 stitches. Skip the 4 stitches behind it, single crochet in the next stitch. And then again, 3 front post trebles. 1, 2, 3. Skip those 4 stitches behind it and start your progression again with 2 single crochets, 3 half double crochets, and 4 double crochets. And I'm going to keep doing that all the way around until I get back to the corner where I started. I've done my last 2 double crochets there. I'm back to my starting corner. I do 2 double crochets in the same corner, chain 1, and now I'm going to be done with my square, so I'm going to go ahead and change colors as I join. But I'm going to join into this first stitch and change to this color. I can fasten this one off. And I'm done with my square. Now all that's left to do is the border. Just like every time we've changed shapes, our next row is going to use front post stitches to give us a border, right? So row 11 is super easy. All we're going to do is we're going to do a front post stitch around every single stitch. There's no increases, no decreases, nothing. In the corner, you're going to do a half double crochet, chain 2 half double crochet. That's it. The rest is just front post double crochets around every single stitch. So let's go ahead and do round 11. We're going to turn, slip stitch into our chain 1 space to get nicely centered, chain 1 and do a half double crochet, just 1 half double crochet. All right, now we're just going to do a front post double around every single stitch until we get across to the next corner. I've come to the corner, and in the corner I'm going to do a half double crochet, chain 2, half double crochet. Okay, and then I begin doing my front post stitches again. So it's just front post double crochet all the way around to the next corner. And I'm going to keep doing that all the way around till I get back to my starting corner. I've made it all the way back around to my starting corner. I'm going to put another half double crochet in this corner and then chain 2 for that corner space and join. And that's round 11. That's our first round of the border. Now for round 12, we're mostly single crocheting in every stitch around with a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet in the corner. But we're also going to 3 times on each side drop down into the stitch 2 rows below and do a double crochet into that to make these like spike stitches, okay? And those are going to go into the fronts of the stitches that we left unworked because we were working front post stitches on this last round. So let's see how that works. We're going to start by turning our work and slip stitching in the corner like we have been, okay? This time we're doing a chain 1 and a single crochet to get us started. And now let's see how many stitches are in between each of these spike stitches. So from the corner, here's the stitch we just made, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more stitches before the next spike. So that's like 6 stitches, but it's the 1 for the corner and then 5, right? So here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stitches before the center spike. So this goes 6, 7, 7, 6. Okay, on the ends there's 6 and in the middle there's 7. So let's work on that. So I've got 1. Let's do 5 more. 3, 4, 5 single crochet. Now we're going to do the stitch in the 2 rows below, the stitch below this stitch here, okay? So we find where this stitch is connected to. There's the post. So this is the top of that stitch. We're going to do a double crochet right there. All right, skip this stitch behind there, and we're going to do a single crochet in each of the next 7 stitches. So that was 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you know you've counted right if you end up right in the middle between these 2 fans. So into this middle stitch here, we're going to do another drop down spike stitch thingy where we do the double crochet 2 rows below. Okay, now we do another 7 stitches, so we skip that one, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we go into this stitch, right? Because this is the next stitch. We look at what it's connected to. It's connected there, so this is where we do our next double crochet. And now we skip the stitch behind it, and there should be 5 stitches before we get to the corner. 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're at our next corner, which is a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, and we continue around doing the same thing. 5 stitches, drop 1 down, 7 stitches gets you to the center, do another spike stitch there, 7 more stitches, do another spike stitch there. So we'll keep doing that all the way around till we get back to our starting corner. I'm back to my starting corner. I'm going to do a single crochet in the same corner, chain 2, and join. Now here's where you can start to make some decisions about sizing. If your square is already big enough and you don't want to make it any bigger, you can actually stop now. You could do just the next row and not the last row. You could do multiples of the next couple of rows, or you could just keep repeating the last row. There's several options. I've written them all out in the pattern as some suggestions for how to adjust the size if you need to. But if you've matched my gauge, the next 2 rows should get you to the 12-inch square. So let's jump into row 13. Row 13 is an absolute repeat of row 11. It is just a front post double crochet in every stitch. Let me zoom in. Front post double crochet in every stitch all the way around, and in the corners we have half double, chain 2, half double. That's exactly what we did in round 11, so let's do that. Turn. So turn your work, slip stitch into the chain space to get centered, chain 1, and do a half double crochet. And now I'm just going to do a double crochet in each stitch, a front post double crochet in each stitch across to the next chain space. Now when I reach the chain space, I'm going to do a half double crochet, chain 2, half double crochet, and then I start again with the front post double crochets all the way across to the next chain space. I keep doing that all the way around till we get back to the beginning space. Okay, I'm back around to the corner. I'm going to do 1 more half double crochet in that first corner, chain 2, and join. And we're ready for our final round. Round 14 is super easy. We're just going to do a single crochet in every stitch all the way around with a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet in the corner. Now, if this is for sure your final round, you can do 3 single crochet in the corner instead of this single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. The reason I wrote it with the chain 2 space is to make it possible for you to easily add rows or take rows away if you need to make your square a little bit bigger or smaller. But if you're sure you can do this solid, you don't have to do the chain 2 space there. Okay, let's go ahead and start on this round. So first we're going to turn our work and slip stitch into the chain space to get us nice and centered. All right. Now we'll start in the middle. We'll do 1 single crochet, okay? And then we're just going to single crochet in each stitch all the way across. When we get to the corner, we'll again do a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, and then go on and single crochet in each stitch across to the next corner. And we'll keep doing that all the way around till we get back to where we started. I am back to where I started. I'm going to single crochet in that first chain 2 space, chain 2, and then slip stitch. Ooh, there we go, slip stitch into that first single crochet. And that is the end of the square. Now all that's left to do is fasten off, weave in ends, and wash and block. And that's how you make the Shapeshifter Square. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, share it with your friends, or leave me a comment. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel for more great videos. Thanks for watching.